Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Aimed at ending the war in Ukraine, reactions are mixed. Some call it historic, others remain skeptical of President Trump's goals. The president has said both Kyiv and Moscow will have to cede land to reach peace, sparking concerns in Europe and Ukraine about unfavorable terms. Meanwhile, Ukrainian refugees in Alaska say they hope President Trump can influence Putin to stop the war, while others plan to protest the visit. Let's listen in to what some of the residents have said.
Because I wanted to demonstrate that Alaskans don't welcome Putin here and that we are supportive of Ukraine. We don't support the invasion of Ukraine, and we don't think that an international war criminal should be meeting in the United States on a military base in Alaska. None of those things should be allowed. My initial fears, my immediate knee-jerk reaction was, oh my God, is he going to offer Alaska to Putin? I don't think that's going to happen, but you also can't rule anything out with Trump.
Now we go back to our guest discussion with Mark Sutherland. He's a geopolitical commentator, joins us live from London. Thank you, Mark, for staying with us. Now, given this mixed reactions to the upcoming U.S.-Russia summit, how responsible is the U.S. for potentially pushing for peace terms that may compromise Ukraine's territorial integrity?
And the key thing here, we always have to remember, look back in history of why people say what they're actually saying, and their reaction to it, listening to those comments from Alaska. Remember that Alaska was, America, I think, bought that off Russia in 1867, so it was interesting to put all these comments in the mix, because when land has been taken, where people are reflecting, are they then reflecting on the fact that, as Trump has already said, that land, there might have to be some deals. That has then been played down. That is then being played down, I believe, with what I'm reading, looking at before these conversations. But the fear will be understandable, and as Zelensky has said, President Zelensky has said that there will be, we're not giving up. We want the land back that Russia has taken from us. So that is all in the mix, Azuma, and comments are then said, comments are not said, denied. But the most important thing is there's going to be a meeting of these two leaders. I think it'll be the first time that Putin has been in American territory for 10 years. So this is all playing out. It's important that these conversations happened, and as you have reported on previously in earlier bulletins, and we've seen and we're reading it, is that Trump has said, look, if we don't sort this out, then there's going to be an escalation in regard to trade sanctions, etc. But of course, he's not going into details. So all of this, as I say, is in the mix, Azuma.
Building on your answer, Mark, do you think that could U.S. be risking losing credibility in Europe if it fails tomorrow to reach anything?
It's an interesting question, because Trump, for a number of years, as I say, I go back to when he was saying this about NATO. You need to start pulling your weight in regard to the European countries contributing to that, and stop just relying on America. And he has spoken very, very firmly about that. And then countries, Germany particularly, is turning around and saying, right, we are then going to up the percentage of our GDP that we spend militarily. We look at what's been happening in other countries like Sweden, etc. Finland's reaction as well. So this is what, and also people then coming into the NATO alliance. So this is what is also playing out. Trump genuinely had a meeting with Zelensky, as you know, with J.D. Vance a few months ago, or just under that, in the Oval Office. It all turned a bit interesting in regard to comments and attitude of Zelensky, which Trump didn't particularly appreciate. His motivation is to end this war. Now, that may the diplomatic corps may not like the way he conducts himself at times, but he genuinely wants this to end, like we all do, because of the appalling casualties on both sides and the devastation that has played out sadly in Ukraine. Assume.
Thank you very much, Mark, for sharing that. Please stay with us as we cut through to some visuals of UK Prime Minister and Keir Starmer and Zelensky. Now, UK Prime Minister Starmer has welcomed Zelensky to 10 Downing Street in London. We have the visuals on air now. Now, this comes ahead of the talks that are to be conducted in Alaska tomorrow, and the timing is very crucial. We will be seeing what comes out of it and why UK, why now? It's the question. Now we go back to our guest, Mark Sutherland. He's a geopolitical commentator, joins us live from London. Thank you, Mark, for staying with us. Now, this continued reliance of Ukraine, heavy reliance on Ukraine on external support to make it more difficult for them to negotiate directly with Russia. Do you think because of Ukraine relying heavily on other partners or allies in Europe has made it difficult for Ukraine to be on the table tomorrow?
The key thing is that Trump in the past has had dealings with Putin. There's been conversations, a meeting. This is where Donald Trump starts at in regard to his own personal relationships, and then goes from there. And as I said previously, people may not like